3AW is football.
The Giants have just announced they've suspended Toby Greene for 5 matches and fined him $5,000 under the AFL Code of Conduct. He's a young man facing a long list of charges after an incident at Zagami's in Caulfield. Is that appropriate?
Well, it certainly is from the perspective of Neil. He met with the player leadership group, and this was a sanction, as I understand it, when our people have been briefed on it. He met with the player leadership group and the coach, and it was the player leadership group, 6 of them, of senior players, who determined that this was the fair and appropriate response. He accepted that sanction. In fact, as I understand that, he apologised this morning at a player meeting, was very contrite. And our policy, Neil, is if these things are dealt with in-house appropriately, then the AFL has no role in it, and we have actually welcomed the decision from the perspective of it sends a very clear message. If you've got the player accepting it, you've got the player leadership group, his peers, who are determining the sanction, that seems appropriate.
Of course, he's not guilty yet.
No, I understand that, Neil, but at every club now, they have got their own codes of conduct, they've got their own behaviours that they all sign up to, they've got their own, their own discipline structures, and every club that I know of has got a leadership group. And when you have peers determining what is right and wrong, that's a very, very strong message.
If he is convicted, does he face further penalty from the AFL?
But potentially, if he's found guilty and he is of a serious offence, potentially that would be a matter for our integrity unit.
Very serious charges, very, very serious list of charges.
They are, Neil, and I understand that Toby understands that he made a grave error of judgment. He has apologised. He's accepted his sanction. So there's no excusing it, Neil. There's no guilt in the lily here. Yes, he'll have to face the charges and he's innocent until proven guilty and whatever that is determined. But from a AFL and club perspective, it was unacceptable and he has apologised.
Okay, well, it seems like he's admitting some fault here. Whether he's guilty under the law is another matter, but he is admitting fault.
Well, he's admitting fault because from a player perspective, Neil, and a club perspective, they've all signed up to the mantra that they don't put themselves in these positions that they get in trouble. They shouldn't go out late at night. They shouldn't be consuming alcohol excessively. As I understand it, a few days earlier at the GWS Giants, they'd had a presenter talking to the club about the pitfalls of excessive alcohol and getting yourself into trouble. So there's not much excuse. And as I said earlier, he understands and accepts that.
Do you know him?
I haven't met Toby. Look, he's a very good player, Neil. He made a bad error of judgment, and he's going to pay a very heavy consequence.
We talk about Toby Greene. The Simon White from Carlton is accused of hitting a Carlton supporter outside a nightclub. I think that was the bye time again. We've got a problem when they have a bye. The players relax a bit too much. Yeah, well, now I'm hoping this is just a couple of one-offs because the idea of introducing 2 byes was to give the players some relief from their workload, which is very important. Now, it does have an effect on the momentum of the season. We were actually trending up very well up until the sort of 3. I think we've got 3 rounds of 6 games, but we don't want the bye to be used as some vehicle for players. And they're not all players. We're talking about 2 incidents here where they get into strife. Otherwise, it would put the sort of concept of a bye in jeopardy. And I don't think, on the whole, for 850 players, you'd want 1 or 2 players wrecking that. So, but you put the concept of the bye in jeopardy. I mean, you could cancel it. Well, not cancel it, but the whole idea of the bye is to have a relief for the workload. It's not to use it to get into strife. And hopefully we'll see that better managed going forward because we have 2 byes this year for the players. And we don't want to have incidents like this. And, we've got Toby Greene now missing 5 weeks. We haven't got the information about Simon White yet. That is still under investigation. But let's hope they're just one-offs.
3AW is football.